late 60s were a time of a lot of social activism, and that's what people did.
It was a really exciting time. We were out on the streets about civil rights issues, social justice issues, and my classroom was really the streets.
ACRS did emerge out of the social justice movement because we were portrayed as the model minority. Asians were put up as, being these wonderful folks who didn't have problems, and other communities did have problems.
I feel that we were wrongfully pitted against other ethnic groups. We had our share of problems, but we couldn't prove it.
So as a way to combat that myth that we are the model minority, we really felt that if we put something in place like mental health care for Asians, that folks would turn out.
My boss at Harborview Mental Health Center, Dr. Lindbergh Sata, he said, well, Asians aren't coming into Harborview, so where are they? Where shall we find them? We found out that this church named Blaine United Methodist Church might be willing to allow us to use some of their space to attract people from this area, the Beacon Hill area, where there are a lot of people of color. The way we did it was Dr. Sata took a $20 bill out of his pocket and he said, go buy some green tea. And that's how he did it. He said, go buy some green tea and serve it to the customers. Every week I was here and made tea and waited for someone to come. No one came. No one came for several weeks. And eventually a woman came. She was Japanese American. She came and very nicely asked if there was actually free counseling, and I said, yes, please come in. And so it didn't matter that we were sitting in these tiny chairs for children with a desk like that, and we had a nice conversation. I don't think she knows what a gift she was to me. I was absolutely thrilled that Dr. Sata was right, and that perhaps we had a good thing going here. Word got around that it was kind of a fun place to work. So we got quite a few students and other clinicians like Dave to come and volunteer. This was quite unique to have Asian clients, Asian clinicians, Asian instructors, all in one room.
And so it was fledgling in those days, and we borrowed space, we used supplies from the university where I was teaching. I mean, ACRS became the entity that the community kind of relied on.
We didn't know what to do next, and we were encouraged by the United Way staff to write a demonstration grant proposal. By the time we wrote the grant, we had maybe over 70 clients, and they were extremely pleased with that number because before that, no one knew whether or not there were mental health problems in the Asian community. So we received a grant. Our first grant was, I remember it being about $3,000. And we were so happy.
I think they made a commitment that yes, this is an organization we want to place a bet on.
As we expanded to serve not just the Japanese, Chinese, and Filipino communities, but the refugee communities, I think ACRS is doing a great job in ways that are culturally appropriate and linguistically accessible to folks that are in need.
Looking back, I've thought about this over the years, For the executive director of a mental health center to take $20 out of his pocket and to say buy tea, those were his first orders. What does that tell you? He knew that there were elements that were not present in his mental health center at Harborview that we could provide elsewhere. and perhaps make them feel more comfortable.